Hey, hi everyone. Great evening to everyone, each and everyone who has joined the webinar today. Kindly let us wait for another 5 minutes. Okay, then we are going to start the webinar. Hi everyone once again. Thank you for waiting. So we'll start the session now. Okay. To just start with, I'd like to give the introduction for Suvarna Nikam. She heads the global HR function and Vision Net. As a leader in people and reward practices with 17 plus years of experience in driving organizational success in the IT and ITES industry. So Suvarna Nigam will take the session today on our topic, which is how to prepare oneself for a career in GenAI. Suvarna, please take it over.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank the Naukri campus team to have me as one of the speakers and get an opportunity to address the group. Just checking, am I audible, clear?
Yes, Suvarna, you are.
Okay. All right, perfect. Great. So, generative AI, right? I think there's so much that has been talked about, written about this topic, and as fresh engineering talent or as engineering talent, which is trying to learn the ropes of what really this whole technology advancement means, it of course creates a lot of fine balance, or it takes a lot of stress and toll on individuals to say whether my role is going to remain the way it is, whether I'm going to be an important part of the organization, the project teams that I work for. Technology, any advancement has always put the human race through such a thought process and churn of millions of different opinions. So this is one such session where we'll try to simplify what do you really need to think about when you're thinking about this topic and about your own professional growth, your own professional opportunities. And as the engineering talent, fresh talent, and not necessarily just engineering, but the talent that is trying to get into the generative AI race and pick up roles and responsibilities in this area. What we will try to do today is talk a little about, first and foremost, what is this whole topic about? Is this something that's going to be a boost for your career opportunities, or it is going to threaten? And if what it is going to do, how would you navigate the change and embrace the change? Uh, and of course, I represent VisionNet. I'll talk a little about the company and what we are doing towards the end of the session. But let's focus on, when I look at generative AI and the influence of it on how the fresh talent is going to be looked at. I look at what are the company's expectations, because it's very important to empathize with what the organizations are looking for, and the organizations are obviously going to look for what their customers are looking for. The key parts, I think the skills that are in demand, the new roles that are getting created, the expectation of the current roles as to how they should evolve and enhance. And of course, most importantly, how communication, how soft skills, how collaboration has to work when all these different technology teams, all these different virtual teams spread across the globe will come together and work towards that common goal. How is that influencing what role you will land in, what work will be expected out of you, what companies will evaluate and assess you on at part of the interview process, as when you get into the organization, and what sort of work you will be doing and how your performance reviews will happen. And by and large, what are the new things that you would expect to learn? So let's talk a little about skills demand, right? Uh, there are technical skills. Your standard Python happens to be a very important technology skill. It is based on what the most of the AI models are going to be written, all the large language models, large image models that are coming into being. So of course, Python is going to be a very key essence element of technology. Add to that, I would say that in general, right, the standard computational intelligence, the machine learning, the modeling, mathematics are going to be very, very important. So, of course, that's the knowledge part of it. Uh, Technical skills and knowledge will kind of be the core foundational ways in which anybody who wants to do a career in generative AI will have to, start. Uh, there are, of course, going to be different industries. We talk to automotive, to healthcare, to pharma, to manufacturing, education, standard large in any place, banking and financial services, any sector is going to use these AI models and AI engineering in their own capacity, and it's going to largely do two things, right? One is to get better accurate results, get better cost efficiencies, and then most importantly, get it faster, right? So every organization has limited budget, so cost efficiencies will be priority. Human errors do happen, so anything where we could avoid any human error is going to be priority. And then add to that, it's also going to be of speed because you are competitive and you are dealing with a competitive world. So think about all of these elements as important elements as you look forward to build yourself and build your capabilities to get into this area. Uh, Domains, like I said, it's going to be important, but I think the most often I have heard people saying that soft skills, are they really important? If robots could do it, if codes can do it, if AI can do it, if generative AI is a further up from the standard AI models, if those can do it, then what is really the human element is going to do? And that's where these new roles come into play. Yes, you have your standard AI engineering and development roles. You would have enhanced data scientist, data detective roles, data analyst role, because all of that data has to be modeled, has to be trained, and then it would get used. But I think the last two are very key and close to, should be close to everybody who's wanting to build a sought after career in generative AI, which is prompt engineers and AI ethics specialist, because there's a very thin line of difference between what technology advancements in general can always do to what they should be doing. You can code, you can create awareness about what morality needs to be and what ethics needs to be followed into a code, into a model, but can you really contextualize it and make sure that the situation you have at hand, whether you are doing the right thing or wrong thing, and to even validate whether it is the right or wrong, you will need a human mind. So I think I would practically tell you is that artificial intelligence is not going to take away your jobs, is not going to really change the way companies are going to hire you. It is basically going to just augment the intelligence that you will bring to table. It will boost your productivity, and that's how organization will look at. Organizations will look at, can you use all of this technology advancement in a right manner to lead to the end goal that the customers have, and most importantly, can you do it ethically? Because quite a few times it always ends up being that what the machines, what the engineering, what the technology advancement can do, they can of course do, and they can do it at the best, lowest optimized cost, but it cannot do what it needs to do in necessarily the most ethical manner. And we have seen in the past, careers such as ethical hacking coming up. AI will not be able to walk away from it. It would be also an important new role that will come into play. Uh, I think the other part, right? Any model, any engineering advancement that you will try to use, we often say with our customers that there are thousands of use cases that they want to solve and they want to talk about when they want to build in a potential AI play there. But the question is going to be coming as to how do you prioritize where to use it? How do you make sure that how you explain the individuals the complex problems that AI can solve, but in a simpler manner, because not everybody is going to be an AI specialist. So the objective is going to be, how do you simplify um, so how do you simplify the use of your communication skills, your collaboration skills? How do you simplify your ability to, to break down the problems and help understand the end users as to how this generative AI is going to help you in doing your roles better and bigger and achieve better outcomes? But that's not the roles and what the landscape is evolving like. If I were to tell you about how should you build yourself, how should you really think about what courses you do, what boot camps you attend, what trainings you can do, and there are in the industry a lot of, YouTube is flooded with videos, and there are many experts, so they all are talking about what, and general playlist as to what should you be really doing, what certifications you might be completing. But do remember that your fundamentals, right, your fundamentals of mathematics, your fundamentals of logical analytical thinking, your fundamentals of understanding the models is not going to be taken away. So those are very, very important. Of course, there will be specializations in data areas, machine learning areas, a lot of certifications, and you can always bring in more focus on your capability basis, those certifications. But there is no shying away from the fundamentals, the core skills that you need to be building upon, and hence it's very, very important that when any of the institutions that you're part of, or you have passed out from, you cannot really say that all the degrees that I got and the subjects that I studied are really going to be of no use, because they are fundamental. They have trained your mind, they have trained your thinking to really absorb all that these focused courses and focused certifications will offer you. I think practical experience, and I would really suggest that do not depend on any formal practical experience that you will get. The advantage in this area at least is that you can pretty much take up your own projects. You can pretty much do things on your own, and there are a lot of open LLMs that are available for you to use. And of course, there could be some latency issues. There could be some data issues, but at the end of the day, what they are doing is they are making all of these technologies accessible to you. So anything that you can do on your own, take a couple of use cases and do it hands on, it's going to be important. So of course there are going to be formal internship programs, organizations are offering them when you start, but do not limit yourselves to that. You can absolutely pick up things on your own and build your practical experience and expertise. In fact, that is going to be very crucial, because there is really no worry for you and no reason for you to stress out if some things are not going well. But when you fail, you can really learn what you will not do wrong the next time, and make it better. So build a portfolio of yours. Build something that you can actually talk about when you are sitting in an interview, or when you're applying for a course, or when you're talking to a customer, as to what have you done on your own, what sort of experiential learning you have had, how much of hands-on work you have done, and you have tried and tested different things, because it's all exploratory, and it is, let me tell you, as exploratory for the larger world as it might sound, and as you might feel, because it is an evolving area, and anybody, not anybody or everybody has really mastered it, because it is still evolving. So it's very, very important that you stay hands-on, stay connected, and make sure that you try and do things on your own rather than depending on a formal opportunity. I did talk about the professional skills. I did talk about certain tools and frameworks, certain tools and frameworks which are available open source, and certain which are paid. Obviously, if you're working, you're getting into a job, it's going to be better accessible to you. But even if you are still studying, or if you are planning to get into a job, and you're going to be wanting to build yourself technically proficient, then you can make use of a lot of open AIs available. I think the other part, right, and which I often say this to all engineers in our organization or even otherwise, that AI is going to be a booster for you to process data, take away the time that it was taking, process millions and millions of rows of data points in a short span of time. But at the end of the day, how you are going to apply that AI into solving a business problem is something that will depend on you. So things like, psychology, things like understanding the neuroscience behind why we are solving a certain problem, trying to really say that, okay, there is an engineering element and machine learning element which is important to it, but there is also the application of it in the sector, in the area that it needs to be done, is important. So I think the case study, the whole user story concept to understand and how to solve business problems is very, very critical. And when organizations are interviewing you, when organizations are looking at you to say, can you be somebody part of their generative AI practice or group, they are not looking at only your development skills. They want you to be aware. They want you to be hands-on on those technical skills. But I think what they would also expect you to be great communicators. They would expect you to have problem solving skills. They will expect you to have the right collaborative skills. And they also would expect you to have a lot more um, motivation and self driven behavior to just be exploratory, because these are evolving areas. And unless and until somebody is open to exploring, who doesn't want to stick to traditional ways of doing things, those are the individuals who are going to really stay ahead in the curve and ahead in the game. So that's the strategy for success. Be resilient about what the technology is going to throw a challenge at. Be appreciative of saying what the organizations are expecting you to change on. They're expecting you to be agile. They're expecting you to be proactive. They are expecting you to develop resilience. They are expecting you to be more collaborative, being more focused on applying the technology rather than just adopting the technology, right? And there is a very important difference of knowing when to apply it as against just saying I will use it and I will do this job. Moving on, I think we talked about what roles will open up, what sort of technical skills are there, and domain skills, and what sort of behavioral skills we need to do. Now let's talk a little about the job market, right? Yes, there are emerging roles, certain roles that did not exist before. So be conscious of what those roles are. We talked a few. There will be more evolving, because this is really just the first mile that we are running in a race, and there is a lot more to cover. Uh, there are, of course, going to be certain skills which will not be relevant anymore. And what I always say this, that what get you to a certain place doesn't get you to the next place in the same manner if you continue to do the same thing. So you of course have to be improvising. You of course have to continuously learn and adapt to what the challenges the technology is throwing at you. So stay conscious and stay updated on these advancements. And most importantly, focus on your learnings not through one source. So if you think one certification or one YouTube video or just learning through YouTube is going to get you something, answer is no. You will have to apply it. You will have to get hands on, and also you'll have to learn from unusual sources. So you will have to talk to somebody in different industry sectors. You could be talking to your sibling, you could be talking to your uncle, just to understand and appreciate the sector that they are dealing with. Because if you have to do certain things hands on, then you need to understand the domain, and for you to understand the domain, you will have to be open to learning from unusual sources. So you cannot say that my uncle may not really have very valid input or anything useful to share with me. They will have a lot more, because they will talk about, if somebody's working in a manufacturing industry, and talk about the problems for you there, and you might get a use case out of it. Also understand the, thanks to pandemic, thanks to all of these virtual tools that are available and available across the world, uh, there is a global talent pool that is competing. So your competition is not anymore specific to the city, the town, the companies that come to your campus. Now it is around, you're competing with a global talent pool, and talent pool which is available in cheaper countries, developing countries, which provide that talent pool even at a low cost than India. So there are freelance opportunities. People are willing to take up short-term projects. So while yes, of course, there is competition, think about it as an opportunity, that you are also very much part of a global talent pool. So you are not dependent on just what comes to your campus or just what's available in your town and your state and your country. You very well can really pick up a gig somewhere else in the global landscape, and try your hands at it. I think the other important part also is that just understand that the expectations are going to be higher when organizations are looking at hiring you. They are looking at somebody who is really top of their game. So any hands-on experience that you would do, it is going to help you better your stack. Continuous learning is of course important, but hands-on learning and experience also, because AI is all about, or generative AI in general is all going to be about experiential learning. The more you use it, the more you train it, the more you expose it, the more you are going to be in a better control to apply it. And standalone, it is only going to be limited. It is only going to do things that it has been trained to do. But training it, validating the outcomes of it, validating the authenticity of it is going to be something where human minds are going to be involved. And you cannot appreciate this technology unless and until you have understood this technology fully. You cannot appreciate the usage of this technology unless and until you know how to use it for the desired outcome and how to not let it be used for something that is undesired, right? So that's that, right? And I think we talked about it, blending the domain, blending the technology, blending the knowledge, and implementing it cross-functionally. Uh, we are working with one of our customers, and I wanted to talk to you about it, where they are getting all their leadership into one room to say how will we even consider walking on this journey of adopting generative AI. And let me tell you, these are going to be people with at least 25 years of experience, and they are trying to learn 101 as to what does this whole phenomenon is, right? And there will be somebody who's a really young engineering professional who might be actually telling them. So the one part that the job market will see, or the talent market will see, is that the hierarchies, the seniority is really thinning, because the one who would stay ahead is going to be the one who adopted this and who actually spent time learning about it. The other part, right, and we talked about it, it is a mindset change, right? It is not something about just learning yet another technical programming language. It is going to be the way you think. That is the way that you are changing, right? So staying relevant is very, very important. You need to know that what your end user wants. Empathy is important. So these are soft skills, and these are not some things that you learn because you complete a course. You will learn over a period of time when you actually start doing that work. So yeah, you're changing what and how you will look at your learning capabilities as well. I think building a strong portfolio. I mean, there are a lot of open source GitHubs available, and you can, really demonstrate your coding skills, project management skills. I talked about freelancing work, so you can pretty much use those details and those platforms to really showcase what you have done, get feedback. Right, there are a lot of professionals available globally who can provide you real world, real time feedback on any project, any use case, any example that you have worked on. So it is going to be much more than your theoretical knowledge and courses that you complete and videos that you listen in. Uh, we talked about it, unusual sources, so professional networks, participate in conferences, participate in webinars, participate in any meetups that happen where new conversations happen on new technology usages, and there are plentiful on generative AI. So that's going to be of essence when you are navigating the job market, because employers are looking for all of this. Do you acknowledge what you need to do to stay ahead of the curve? Do you acknowledge that there is something more than mere technology and engineering skills? That will be important when we are talking about a generative AI job landscape. And do you know what is it that it takes to implement these, and not just what it is in terms of knowing how to do it. It is about where do you apply it. um, like I said, there are many boot camps. There are many options available. There are very enhanced curriculums that also provide which different languages, which different models, which different LLMs, which different lamps do you use, right? But understand, most important thing is that all of these models also are very big. So small language models are also going to be very, very much key, because they are going to be bringing in cost efficiency. Not everybody can afford what Microsoft can do, or chat GPT could do, right? Because it takes a lot of space on cloud. It takes a lot of money and investment in for smaller organizations to really use those. So I think the larger economies that organizations looking for, cost effectiveness, when they want to embrace this technology change, those priorities will still remain. So there will be opportunity for all of you even to say that, are there smaller models that are available which can be implemented, and those smaller models will be more cost effective, more optimizable or optimal for organizations when they want to get onto this journey. And that's where you will see more opportunities for you, is that if you can't get into the big bang approach, there is something that's going to be still available for you to contribute to and become part of. Every organizations want to have a competitive edge, and if AI can do something, or if the standard open source ones can do something, I'm sure they can do for that company and they can do for other 20 companies. So the question is going to be that it's not only about knowing the technology but solving the problem, applying on that business problem. So the business problems are unique to each organizations, and those, how they use the technology to solve these problems is what is going to give them a competitive edge. And where you come into play is how you're going to help those organizations in that journey, right? And that's why what we talked about is the overall perspective is going to be very important. Use generative AI. Organizations are expecting you to use generative AI to augment how you use your intelligence, how you use your technical skills, and not just replace them. And I do think that, you know, the way industry is looking at generative AI, they're looking at it in three phases. They're looking at it as it's setting a new baseline. So yes, traditional standard data arranging processes, the work that every data engineer used to do is going to be different. That is going to be done through the automation. But now that that is the baseline, what are we going to do differently? How are you going to transform the sector? How are you going to transform the industry that you're going to apply that entire generative AI onto? So it's really looking ahead. It's really three phase: a new baseline, how and who does it differently, and then how do they really think about transforming this whole process by using technology. How will we create an experience for a person walking into an airport, or how a person, how a child experiences his or her first day of school, to how, you know, organizations look at solving, you know, end problems for a patient or a hospital experience. So it's all going to be about how do we build a experience which is smooth, which is different, and how do you simplify the complexity of something that probably otherwise was not done, because it seemed like 20 steps. Can you reduce those 20 steps to 10? Can you do those 10 steps at a lesser cost? And then the money that you save, can you invest into transforming something that the organizations want to do differently or do new, right? So it's freeing up budgets as well. uh, to shorten it, I would say that we've talked about it. Organizations are going to look at how practical experiences are, how you are going to be globally available, how you are going to build content, and how you are going to build content which is ethical, and how, you know, things like real world experiences through freelancing, through use cases, project based experiences. It's more about practical implementation. So do not stay theory driven. Bring theory to life, and do that through any participation on practical projects and use cases you could do. Could be formal or could be informal opportunities that you pick up for yourself. um, I think there are going to be a lot more changes, right, which are valuable in the new world. If I think about, you know, teaching critical problem solving skills, right? Your institutions might already be focusing on it. There's a lot of institutions, colleges that are now coordinating with industry and companies and different sectors, where they are saying that the four core fundamentals have to be taught, but problem solving has to be taught. Yes, there are complex systems, so people need to understand those complex systems, but then they should be able to simplify and explain those complex systems, and you know, offer and explain to people those in much more applicable or applied ways. And also understand that no technologies are going to be able to just directly deliver the business results, right? There are going to be people like you who will get into the industry and who will actually play a pivotal role in transforming the usage of technology to solving those business problems and achieve those larger business results. Sales processes, operational excellences, how we deal with human talent, how do we deal with our customer experiences, how do we deal with sheer optimization of our resources and how they are getting replenished, is going to are larger business problems in different industry sectors. And all the complex systems will need to build in better efficiency and better accuracy implementation of anything around generative AI. So, evolution is bound to happen. There is no doubt about that. Innovation is key. There is no doubt about that. Problem solving and analytical thinking are fundamental to it. Your standard technology skills are going to be important. They are not going away. But generative AI is just going to challenge you to do it differently, is going to basically not get you accolades for doing what you did before, but encouraging you to think about it differently and transformationally. As at Vision, just to tell you a little about Vision, that I mean, we are a 27-year-old company. We also do a lot of work in generative AI. Our theme really is about engineering excellence. So what we have been doing with our customers is we are helping them reimagine their business. We talked about it earlier that it's not going to be about just technology. It's going to be about the domain and the industry sectors that we support. So we are working with them to solve certain business problems that they have, and they are also talking about not just business problems, but that's where the reimagining IT picture comes into play, where we are talking about cost efficiencies. We are talking about optimizing our cloud cost, optimizing our engineering cost. Can we do the same code writing using AI, but then use that code that has been developed, which is modular and which of course has to be modular because that's how technology moves, into when we put it into the lens of a business. Does it cost me more, or can it cost me still lesser than what it costed me before? Of course, security compliance. We see so much of virtual transactions these days. So cyber risk, security, compliance, GDPR, all of these are very, very important areas. And for every IT organization or every organization which has information technology at its core to run its operations, will implement generative AI. And I think the most important part is it's not limited to just end customer. It's not just limited to business users. It's not just limited to monotonous tasks that organizations have people doing. It is really going to be something that boosts productivity for leadership. We have seen use cases of Copilot. It also is going to be something for knowledge and creative worker, because you cannot imagine the amount of generative AI that is getting used in movie industry, in music industry. That there's a whole lot that is happening out there. And then of course your standard business users in different processes in the different organizational functions and setup. So it is for everybody to use. It is not something that is going to limit. And most importantly, you will have a role to play when you come on board in any of the organizations. If you bring it and use it as beyond technology, how do you really apply it? That's it from me for now. If there are any questions, we could take them, or if somebody would like to know something more about any specific point that we talked about, I can cover that as well.
Thanks, Suvarna. I guess the session was really very insightful. Thank you so much for the insights. We have few questions in the Q&A section. I will spell out. So first question is, when we talk about using AI in any organization, is it equivalent to just using API to access somebody else's AI model, or making our own custom AI model?
I think organizations are really looking at it differently, right? They are not trying to stick to one template. So to answer your question, it really depends on what the organization is wanting to achieve, what their budgets are. And I would say that if there is something which is really fitting to their needs, of course they'll spend more energy on building the API and getting it from an available model that's ready to use. But like I talked about before, that anything that's ready to use, if it's not affordable or it creates latency issues or maintaining and using it at a long term is going to be more and more cost efficient, right? At that time, organizations are going to build their own AI models, and they might be more smaller. They're going to be more focused. So it really is no one size fit all approach. It's going to be based on what the organization is wanting to achieve, and basis that how how they feel the most efficient roadmap will work. And then also remember, it's also driven more about what control the organizations want to have. Take an example, financial services organizations which have to really cater to a high compliance issue, or in markets where companies operate in Europe, where there is a need to have higher data privacy issues. Organizations will prefer more to keep things in house and build their own AI models rather than taking something off the shelf, which could create a cyber security risk or a data exposure, data privacy risk. I hope that I answered.
Thanks, Varna. So the next question is that what is the difference between a prompt engineers and a software engineers?
So very simply put, right? Anybody could become a prompt engineer. What it is, it's really, and again, I'm probably oversimplifying, but prompt engineers are those who are actually going to be the human beings involved to better the language models or the image models that we have, or the combination of language and image models that are there today, right? Or which any company would want to develop. These are basically fine tuning the results that when prompted, these models will give to you. So they have thousands and thousands and millions of data points. The question is, how do you train that entire model to ask questions and get the most valid, useful answer? And it's a combination of things, right? So prompt engineers are those who are basically improving the quality, the efficiency, the effectiveness of response. Software engineers are the ones who are developing the model, who are building the codes behind it. So prompt engineering is more post the model being there, the prototype being there, and is about enhancing the effectiveness of the model. Software engineers are the ones who are actually building it from scratch, from the code, in a very simply put manner.
Thanks, Varna. So the last question for this session will be that can you please recommend some certifications which can be useful for gaining practical skills and help in project-based learning?
So I will actually suggest something which is available for free. Google has a lot of AI, generative AI based certifications that are available for free. And my request or suggestion to everybody is going to be that don't, if you're still right now learning and you are not wanting to make a huge investment, please use the available models, both from Microsoft and Google, which are available on their Google Learning pages for free. And again, it really depends on what level of expertise you have built so far, what topics you have understood, and how deeper you want to go further on it. So there's no one course I would recommend. I would really say that assess for yourself what you're comfortable with, and then what you would want to go forward. But I will, at this point in time, really suggest taking anything that's available through Google and Microsoft to begin with, if you're starting the journey.
Thanks, Varna. So yeah, Swarna, we'll be ending the session now. If you have any closing words, please do add. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, and I hope the candidates will be able to learn for a few things for sure. So yeah, any last word from you?
No, I think all I just want to tell the teams is that of course this does sound a lot more exploratory at this point in time, and it is fine to be such, as long as your intent and your mindset is going to be that it is going to your goal is to stay relevant to the role that you're going to do. It could be technology engineering, it could be prompt engineering, it could be ethical AI, or it could be really business transformation. Anything and everything. I strongly believe that human beings will have an element to play, and it's not AI is not really going to take over any of the potential opportunities. What it is going to do is just going to create more and newer opportunities. And if you stay abreast with that sort of resilience and agility, it's for you to conquer.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Suvarna. Okay.
Thank
Thank you so
much.
much, everyone. Good evening. Have a good day. Bye.